I think that the story of Simba is an archetypical and mythological story not only about the hero's journey, but more importantly about the meaning of growing up. When Simba is born in the opening of the film, he is held up to look out over all of Africa's wildlife, who bow down before him, greet him with awe, respect and obedience. From a Freudian perspective, this is a wonderful allegory for Freud's concept of His Majesty the baby. When a child is born, the first stage of his life is one of infantile omnipotence. We are at first in need of knowing we are special and the central focus of our parents' care and concern. At this point we cannot see beyond our own needs. In The Lion King, Simba is not only the center of his parents' universe, but he is bound down before by the whole assembled African wildlife.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
Wow.
A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, Simba, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
And this'll all be mine?
Everything.
Everything the light touches.
This, however, creates a problem. Thanks to his father's rule, the Pride Lands are in balance. Simba is thus born in paradise, and in his infantile omnipotence, he is the center of it. Therefore, there's nothing to prove himself, nothing to conquer. Hence his fascination with the elephant's graveyard. Here he can defy parental authority and show his bravery. But where his father's bravery is a mature connection with the danger and the possibility of death, Simba in his infantile omnipotence has no real connection to these things. As Sue Gagarais argues in the Journal of Child Psychotherapy, adolescent risk-taking is so often of this nature. It's a dare sent out into the world to show that we are immune to vulnerability without any real emotional connection to the dangers we pretend to disdain.
Being brave doesn't mean you go looking for trouble.
But you're not scared of anything.
I was today.
You were?
Yes. I thought I might lose you.
Of course, this cannot last, and the reality of danger and death is thrusted into Simba's life in a haunting way. When Mufasa dies while trying to save Simba due to a plot by Mufasa's brother Scar, it is from a rational perspective rather unclear why Simba feels so guilty about his father's death. He listened to Scar, waited where he was told to wait for his father, and he didn't cause the stampede. So one argument is that he felt unworthy of being saved, unworthy of his father's sacrifice. Mufasa seems to rule flawlessly. He is a constant reminder of what Simba is not: brave, strong and wise. After Simba's failed attempt to prove himself worthy in the elephant's graveyard facing the hyenas, his arrogance and infantile omnipotence fades away, and he feels unworthy both of his father's sacrifice and his destiny of being king. So he runs.
Run. Run away and never return.
Another key argument for his guilt is Freudian archetypal theory, where Freud argues the wishes of sons to replace and take the positions of their fathers.
My dad just showed me the whole kingdom, and I'm gonna rule it all.
In the beginning of the film, Simba in his arrogance sings of his wish to become king. This of course implies dethroning his father or his father dying, as was also realized by honest traders when they parodied the song.
Oh, I just can't wait till that dies.
Simba is either consciously or unconsciously aware of his wish to replace his father, which feeds his feelings of guilt for his father's death. Therefore, in an attempt to escape his guilt, he runs away from his father's position as king. He thus runs away, but not only from the Pride Lands and his rightful place as king, but also from all the personality traits his father embodied.
You gotta put your past behind you. Look, kid, bad things happen, and you can't do anything about it, right?
Right.
Wrong! When the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on the world.
It is here that Simba enters an adolescent phase where he chooses escapism and pleasure, discarding any responsibility. He joins a gang of what Keggerais describes as asexual dropouts, where the prevailing wisdom is not to worry about any consequences of one's actions.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
Yeah, sing it, kid. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
This way, Simba defends himself from his guilt by cutting himself off from the past and immersing himself in living in the moment. It's quite telling that in this sequence Simba turns to eating bugs and is having his nails filed by Timon. Where Simba first envied his father's strength, power and aggression and tried to emulate those traits, he now feels these traits and his rivalry with his father were responsible for his father's death. Therefore, he relinquishes his competitiveness, healthy aggression and ambition in fear that he cannot control these traits and will become destructive. Simba at this point is not aware that giving up these traits has a cost as well and that it is not the solution. If we give up our ambition, competitiveness and aggression for escapist pleasure, we cannot develop ourselves fully and take our place in the world. In an escapist position, we will remain self-centered and unable to help those around us. Eventually, both our own lives and our surroundings will start falling apart. As Jordan Peterson states,
You know, we have this strange idea that's especially again foisted on young men that the pathway to virtue is through weakness and harmlessness, and that's just simply not true. That's the pathway to uselessness and resentment.
Simba realizes this when Nala confronts him. Due to Simba opting out of responsibility, the Pride Lands have fallen to ruin and all animals are suffering.
Look, sometimes bad things happen,
Simba!
and there's nothing you can do about it. So why worry?
Because it's your responsibility!
Simba has to tear himself away from the escapist pleasures of his Hakuna Matata philosophy in order to take a mature place in the world where he can be responsible for himself and others. To do this, however, he must complete the difficult task of facing himself and his guilt over his father's death.
You said you'd always be there for me! But you're not. And it's because of me. It's my fault. It's my fault.
As Klein states, the Oedipal struggle is to relinquish one's wish to take the father's place, but instead taking one's own place in the world while still adopting what is good in the father. To be happy to be both like him and different than him instead of needing to be him. In The Lion King, this is symbolized beautifully by visualizing Simba's internal struggle through him finding his way through thick thorns, and then seeing himself and his father in his reflection in the water.
You see, he lives in you.
I think this is the key moment of Simba's story. The painful journey of facing himself and his guilt about his father is what enables Simba to transcend his adolescence and become a man, or in this case lion, in his own right. Simba understands that he is not his father, but that he can find his father within him. Only by internalizing Mufasa and the qualities he inherited from him, Simba can adopt responsibility for others and face Scar in order to restore the Pride Lands to balance. In the end, the central archetypal lesson of The Lion King is that in order to grow up, we must adopt responsibility over ourselves and others. If we choose escapist pleasures and renounce our healthy aggression, our competitiveness and ambition, we become unable to engage productively in the world. To remember then who we are is to remember who we can be. It is to adopt the responsibility of realizing our full potential and to try to make our world a better place. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been a while, but it's good to be back. If you like our work, consider supporting us on Patreon. We offer some awesome rewards and it helps us sustaining the channel. Also, a big thank you to the following top Patreons. Your help is really appreciated, and thank you to everyone. We will see you for the next video.